So we are going to show you how to take your brake pads out and replace some brake pads. Now, you got a bunch of screws on your caliper. Again, these were your adjusting screws for the caliper. They screw into the caliper adapter, and that screws into the fork. Okay? So where we want to pull it off from, exactly how you got the bike, is pull these two off. Okay? And we always want to make sure those are tight too. Even in your daily, not daily maintenance, but every once in a while you want to check everything. Loose. That one off. And that one off. You do notice there's this blue stuff on the threads. It's called thread locker. As long as you can still see it, it's pretty good. If it's gone, means you've changed this a bunch of times, and you should probably get some thread locker or new brake caliper mounting bolts. Okay, pull the brake off. Pull out your worn brake pads. What you need to do is pull this cotter pin out. So we want to just bend that straight. Once it's straight, it slides out. Okay, if it gives you any friction at all, you can just grab this end and pull it out. Pull it out, set it down. Now you'll notice that these pads are in here with a spring. Just push the old pads out. Okay, and then discard them. All right, so it's not a bad idea to use little latex gloves or non-latex gloves when you're putting all this together. You really don't want to put any fingerprints on the rotor or on your new brake pads, because your hands have an oil in it and you don't want to get that on there. If you do, a little spray bottle with alcohol and a clean paper towel. So I'm going to get my new brake pads from ZUGO. Take these things. I'm going to make sure that it's in here correctly. The spring itself is on the side of the pads. Okay? See how it's on there? See how it's on there? Same thing with this one. So you want to make sure that the spring is not interfering with the pad at all. What we're going to do is we're going to squeeze these together. We're going to slide it right in the caliper. Now if it doesn't slide in the caliper, it means somebody probably pushed the brakes. And if they do, those pistons are pushed out. You can take pretty much anything and squeeze the pistons back together. Try to do them evenly, like there, 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 until they go in a little bit. Then you'll be able to get your pads in. Once you get your pads in, you'll see that there's not a huge space yet. So I don't care about that yet. We're going to put your cotter pin back in. So line these holes up with that. And then your cotter pin will slide through. If you need to wiggle it through until it pops out the other side. Now remember, we had to squeeze these together. Now what I want to do is grab this longer one and bend. Cotter pin will not fall out now. Okay, everything's good. Now what you want to do, make sure that these pads, again with this screwdriver, really lightly, each side, until they're out a little bit. Okay, pretty much all the way. Now what that'll do is it'll make it so it slides back on. Okay, but before I put that on, I'm going to take some alcohol and wipe off my rotor. Both sides of my rotor. If it's really black, okay, if there's a lot of black and dirt on here, okay, get a new paper towel, do it until it's clean. Okay, that's going to make a big difference in your new brake pads. Let it dry a minute, put your caliper back on. Snug these up. Okay. First thing I want to do afterwards is I don't want to touch the brake yet. Okay. Get that thing nice and snug. Now I push the brake. It's going to center the brake rotor between the two brake pads. And hopefully there's some little bit of space between each one. And if you need to adjust it, these are your two adjusting bolts, here and here. And just like we showed you in the assembly video, to adjust your caliper so it doesn't rub when you turn it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on its side stand. And if you don't hear anything like that, it's awesome. Hit the brake, try it again. You are good to go.